Turns out, there's some rumors suggesting that Nvidia could be releasing two RTX 5080s, one that would be utilizing the denser 3GB GDDR7 chips. This decision could perhaps trickle down to the lower end segments, allowing for some attractive configurations. Then we've got some leaks surrounding Intel's Ultra 7 265K giving AMD's flagship 9950X a run for its money at a significantly lower price. And we've got motherboard manufacturers gearing up to release 800 and 900 series motherboards for Intel and AMD. All that and more to be discussed in this video.
Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you've all been doing well. I wanted to follow up with you guys on the rumors surrounding Nvidia's upcoming RTX 50 series graphics cards. Previously, we discussed specs that were leaked by Kopite7Kimi on Twitter and discussed the possibility of a 2-slot cooler, perhaps water cooling, so check that video out for the info. Link for it will be below. Now, following all those leaks, we have some rumors coming out from the Chip Health forums where a user is alleging Nvidia would be releasing two RTX 5080s, a 24GB model that will be coming out later. If you're wondering how they would be doing this, well, they'll simply be utilizing the denser G7 modules, allowing for 3GB per module. So on a 256-bit bus, it was either 8GB or 16, but with those denser chips, 24GB is possible. This doesn't sound so far-fetched when you think about it. My concern is that Nvidia could be indulging into their usual misleading naming tactics where they release two GPUs with the same name, but the model that has the higher VRAM has like 10% more shaders or CUDA cores, thus resulting in a difference in performance. There's been many examples of Nvidia doing just that in the past, and do recall they did try to do something similar with the initial launch of the RTX 40 series where there were two RTX 4080s, one with 12GB and one with 16, but the one that had 12GB was based on a lower end chip, 8104, with significantly less shaders. They weren't even in the same tier, so calling it a 4080 12GB was very misleading, very anti-consumer, because a potential consumer buying it might be thinking, you know what, I'm just going to save the money and go with the 12GB model, thinking performance-wise it would be minor. Me personally, even if it's a model with just higher VRAM, I'd much rather they use a different name to better differentiate them in the market. Maybe call it a 5080 Super. What does also corroborate this leak is Harukaze on Twitter has disclosed some information mentioning how Nvidia is preparing additional models based on GB202 and 203. For GB202, which is what the 5090 uses, this could imply a 5090 Super or 5090 Ti, maybe a Titan with 48GB of VRAM. Then with GB203, as I mentioned, it could be a different 80 class card, or perhaps it could be the 5070 Ti. Circling back to the denser G7 modules, this does give me a bit of hope for the lower end models if Nvidia will be using them for that segment, as this could mean that the 60 class would have a minimum of 12GB and the 70 class could have 18GB of VRAM. I think it's time Nvidia just stopped being so stingy with the VRAM, especially if they want to be peddling AI accelerated technologies and software features. Now, moving away from GPUs, I wanted to go over a leaked benchmark result for what is allegedly the upcoming Ultra 7 265K processor based on Arrow Lake from Intel. This is a leaked benchmark from the Geekbench 6 test, which tests out the capability of the CPU throughout various tasks, scoring both single-core and multi-core scores. In this leaked result, we can see the 265K achieved a single-core score of 3,283 and a multi-core score of 22,293, which is a pretty decent score. Video cards on the article they posted on their website have the results from other leaks and current-gen CPUs, and we can see how it stacks up. When it comes to single core, it's doing decently. It trails behind the leaked Ultra 9 285K, which makes sense as that one will have a higher boost clock out of the box, and it's trailing right behind the 9700X and 9950X. When it comes to multi-core scores, here's where things get a bit interesting. With a score of 22,293, it outperforms the 9950X by a few percentage points. This is quite impressive because remember, these CPUs do not have hyper-threading anymore. Those new E-cores are showing just how much faster they are compared to the previous gen, and it's also only about 3% behind the 285K. Remember, when comparing specs, the 265K only has 4 less E-cores compared to the 285K. It will have the same amount of P-cores and just slightly lower clocks. So overall, in most applications and gaming, performance-wise, there shouldn't be that big of a difference between the two CPUs. And if we go based on some of the leaked pricing information out there, then the 265K will just offer way better bang for the buck compared to the Ultra 9 285K. so I can see it selling better. I'd say the only ones who would be going after the 285K are the ones who are looking to get every frame they can get and want the absolute best multi-core performance. Plus the fact that it's beating the 9950X, AMD's top-end Zen 5 CPU for the consumer platform, and it's going to be cheaper by a significant amount means Team Red will have their hands full. However, as much as I'd love to be totally optimistic here, we do also have to take into account the fact that Geekbench 6 isn't that great of a benchmark when it comes to scaling with hardware and multi-core performance, and at a certain point, you get a steep drop-off and there's diminishing returns. Here is a result of my 14900K, which by the way has hyper-threading disabled on it, and I get a higher single-core score and also a higher multi-core score than some of those other results. But nonetheless, I think things are starting to get pretty interesting in the CPU world, and I guess this is also why we're starting to hear rumors about AMD launching the 9800X3D early. Some people are suggesting a release later in October, and that will garner quite a bit of interest for them on the CPU side. As according to various tech outlets and retailer data, AMD's Ryzen 9000 series have been experiencing some disastrous sales with little to no interest shown from consumers, some going as far as to say it hasn't been this bad for AMD since Bulldozer. And that's not surprising at all to see. Zen 5 overall was a major flop. It didn't really offer any large tangible benefits for consumers when it comes to gaming, and not just that, but also multi-core. So there's really nothing enticing here. Even if you are a new builder, you're better off just going with the 7000 series CPUs and saving some money there. I think the difference between the 7950X and 9950X was around like $100, if not more. Or the other thing consumers will do is just get a Ultra 7 265K, which is looking like a banger of a CPU when it comes to performance per dollar. Now, when it comes to new CPUs, of course, there will be new motherboards being released. Looks like earlier the embargo for the X800 AM5 motherboards lifted, and we started to see listings for the X870E and X870 motherboards. These new motherboards will bring some cool new features with them and some updated I/O, which I think will entice some users, though for the most part, many of the models look like rebrands with some slight tweaks. I'm more personally interested in the 900 series boards, as that will support Intel's new Arrow Lake CPUs, and more specifically, I'm going to be more interested in the 2DIMM models such as the MSI Z890 Unify X and Asus's Z890 Apex, and I think Gigabyte has their Tachyon motherboard. My main reason for this is because memory manufacturers are starting to roll out new QDIMM models which will boast much higher speeds, reaching around up to 10,000 mega transfers per second, which is absolutely insane. And you guys know me on the channel, we've discussed memory tuning before, and I love to see how things scale with such high bandwidth available, and along with that, seeing how low we can get that latency. But that's going to be wrapping it up for this hardware news and leak segment. I'll touch base with you guys on the next video.
If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.